The world is on the brink of the Third World War, and Europe is the battlefield. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. And today I want to make this impromptu video because of what is happening on the ground right now in Europe. There is tension everywhere, and people are actually scared. And I want you to make an informed decision on whether you will move on with the processing of your European visa now, or maybe you're going to postpone it for the future, or maybe you are never going to come. Remember, disclaimer, I am not in any way stopping or advising anybody not to come to Europe. The door to Europe is always open. Just do what you need to do, work with the right agents, and you will be here. But I believe that I owe you the responsibility to inform you of what you are going to be possibly stepping into if there is an event of war in Europe. If the West actually fights with Russia, because where many people are looking to come to is actually the West and not to Russia. It's actually to other countries here. And the truth about this issue that is going on right now is that the West is highly dependent on Russia. The West is highly dependent on Russia. Okay, let me give you a broad overview of what is happening right now. There is actually tension that there is going to be the possibility of a third world war. And Europe is going to be the battleground for this third world war. How is that going to come about? Because of Russia standing at the border of Ukraine. Actually, there is no plans for Russia to invade Ukraine as it is being said in the media. The media says that Putin wants to invade Ukraine. No. But Putin wants to stop Ukraine from joining NATO. That is actually what is happening on the ground. That is the understanding. That is what you must understand. Putin wants to stop Ukraine, but Putin is going to use any means necessary to stop Ukraine from joining NATO. And that will be undermining the sovereignty of Ukraine, for which America and the West are very much against. But America and the West cannot do much, because if they do much, number one, the West will suffer. Europe as we have it now, this part of Europe that many of you are trying to come to, and many people are still on the way to process visa, you will find out that you will be coming to a country that will be without energy, because up to 70% of the European energy is coming from Russia. So Putin has the West in his hands like this. Whatever he does, he will cut out energy. This light you are seeing here is going to go off, and people are going to die of cold. This is the first consequence of the possibility of a war. Energy in Europe will be cut out. Number two consequence will be the destruction of Europe and the fact that the war is going to be very hot here. This is actually going to be the ground for the war. Europe here. Poland is just next to Russia. So Russia has actually watched so many other nations like Poland and so many other Eastern European countries join NATO. And they see it as a threat. Putin sees this joining of NATO as a threat. Because, be reminded, if you don't know, NATO is an army that was formed after the Second World War to fight against the Soviet Union. Don't mind whatever was being said. This army was formed to fight against the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union, what is left of it now is Russia. What is left of it is Russia. So Putin is scared that if these people take Ukraine, they are now at their borders again. The fact, they are very close to them. And every day the NATO spends right inside Ukraine is a ticking time bomb for the extinction of the Soviet Union, which for Putin is still in existence, although it's not in existence anymore. So this is the major threat for Putin. And the next threat for the world and for Europe is that China and North Korea, these two countries that do not care anything about the sanctions of the West or of America, are standing with Russia. That is the very big problem. In fact, Iraq joined them. So you can see that these countries, if they band together, it is going to be immediately a third world war. Immediately. That is what it's going to go into. Because these countries are nuclear powers. They are very, very strong nuclear powers that can inflict harms on nations. Europe is very fragile now. Europe is very volatile right now. And when you know that a war is coming, is when big nations start withdrawing their personnel from the ground of that country. Once the assurance of war has started coming, big nations, UK has withdrawn its ambassadors from Ukraine. US have done the same. Some other countries are also pulling out. Of course, I don't know if Nigeria will do the same, or maybe any African country will do the same. That is the thing. But then when big nations start pulling out their citizens, their important citizens from a country or from a territory, you know that war is looming. So it should be very clear that a third world war is coming, and it will be coming to Europe. Now, even if it decides to come, maybe if this war should happen, because there's a probability that this war will never happen, even if it decides to come after this war, there's a probability that Europe will be suffering from energy crisis. Very, very big energy crisis. This is a big scare. It is really a big scare. I just said, let me let you know about this. If you have not been listening to the news, if you have been agitated to come over to Europe, please go and inform yourself. I'm not the one that will inform you, because all I have is bits and pieces here and there. Go and inform yourself as to what is happening, so that you will actually have the right timeline to follow. A third world war might just be looming. Do you really want to come to this third world war? Do you really want to come and face this right now? Remember, you can always come. Feel free to come, because I am in the business of still bringing people over. But then this is a very serious situation right now in Europe. And I don't have time to explain all of them, to break down things as part by part, you know, what Ukraine is doing and what Russia is doing and everything. Maybe if you enjoy this kind of video, you can let me know. Maybe I will make a proper video about this. But this is just for me to keep you on the red alert that this is actually happening in Europe. In case you do not know, this is actually happening. A war might just be coming. The third world war might just be coming. And Europe might be the battlefield. Thank you.